Hey guys, it's Lazy and welcome back. So in today's videos, I'm going to show you guys a one divine budget build for Lightning Spear that is going to be capable of clearing T15 maps, almost any content in the game beside pinnacle bosses. A lot of people have been asking me for a tanky version of the build or even a more budget version of the build, so I thought why not both. And in this video, one divine budget, 2 pushes all the gears, and all the skill gems are pretty much only 3 link, and I will show the passive skill tree, talk about some of my choices, and we'll go over everything in this video, so let's get started. I'm going to go over all the trading for the gears, and at the time of recording for this video, the price of 1 divine to exalt is 1 to 56, so that is what I'm going to start with. The first item is going to be Painter's Servants, a very cheap, unique glove that is going to enable our Trinity setups later. Next, we are going to grab a belt, which is basic maximum life and some resistance. For the body armor, you want to look for a hybrid ES evasion base with good amount of evasion, ES, and some good resistance or maximum life. We are looking for 3 important stats on the ring. The first one is flat physical damage for more damage. We want to look for resistance on the ring as well, and the last important stat is +2 intelligence. This is because we are running a cast on crit setups, and these setups require at least 133 intelligence to run the lowest level of cast on critical gems. For the weapon, the obvious best choice for the budget build is going to be Tangle Tongue. This is a new unique spear in the game that have 4 critical hit, essentially double the amount of critical damage bonus that you get, which means that this is going to be one of the best budget choice for the Amazon Ascendancies because we get easy access to crits. Because we are using the raw mount in the build, this means that for your boots, you want at least 25% movement speed because the speed directly scale 1-to-1 with your ROA, and for the rest of the step, you want to look for a hybrid ES evasion base with decent amount of resistance as well. We are running Subterfuge Mask in our build, which means that we want a high ES base energy shields for the helmet, and we want resistance on there, and any form of critical hit chance that you can get on your helmet should be nice as well. One of the most important piece of gear in our build is actually the scepter. This is because we want a high amount of spirits and we want the exact base that is Omen Scepter, in which we'll get the Malice aura and we'll have critical weakness in our build. To run the setups, you need to have at least 195 spirit coming from the gear, and we already have the scepter, and the only slot to have spirit left is going to be the amulet, which means that the amulet will be one of the key items to get the rest of the spirits, and on that you want to have decent amount of attributes and resistance as well. Crafting your gear is actually one of the best way to min-max your gear, which means that we'll spend some money to buy artificial orbs, and then we'll put some rune into our gears, then we'll spend the rest of the currency to buy the jewels. For the weapon runes, I'm going to go with a greater vision rune, which is going to give us the accuracy, and they tie directly with our critical hit chance, which is why it's good. Thinking back about it, I think spending 8 exalt to buy a distill for the anointment in the early game might not be that worth. But yeah, this is what I did and I kinda regret it after, but anyway. The anointment that I chose to go for in the early game is going to be Vulgar Methods, and this one gives us a tons of critical hit chance in the early game. The other distill, which is the Kill and Ire, is really cheap. It is the level 1 and 2, which is why I didn't really count it in the shopping because you didn't really have to go buy it. It's going to drop from just normal mapping. Because I spent 8 exalt on anointing my amulet, I only have 2 X left, so the jewels I can get is very limited, but basically you want to have accuracy rating on your jewels, and you can get the other damage mod as well, like damage with spear, elemental damage, crits. Line effect is pretty good as well because it makes the enemy evasion rating go down, which means you'll end up having higher accuracy rating and therefore more crits. One of the biggest problem I think with the new player to PoE is that they don't know what to look for when they are on the trade site. This is why I actually have created a better trading link for the PoE trade site. So you can see the folder over here. I have the link to all of my items, including, for example, Painter Servant right here. You just need to click on it. You will know exactly what stat that I look for, and you can sort it by the weighted sum. And I'll talk a little bit about weighted sum later, but you will see all the stats that I look for in the items, how I set it up. You can go for Tangle Time, for example. I don't search for any stats, but I look for base critical hit chance of at least 18. Scroll down a little bit and you can find this item on like how I find it in my videos. And for example, in the body armor sections, you can click on it. It will bring you to the body armor that I look for. I look for ES and evasion base. I have set the amount of evasion, maximal energy shields, resistance, and I have a weighted sum number in which you will be able to find items, and it will have a sum number which kind of roughly tell you how good this item is based on the numbers that I give the modifier. As you scroll around, shop around, you will see that you'll find similar items in this price range in which the sum is 500, and you can kind of scroll around, see the number, see what you like, and you can look at the number. Again, the higher number is, the better items that you can get. And this is based on the ranking of the modifier that I add. For example, this is a triple resistance with a pretty decent amount of evasions and energy shields, and it is a pretty good body armor for 1 exalt. Just go ahead and buy the higher sum items, but if you want to look for, if you have more currency and you want to upgrade your gears, all you need to do is go in here and type a higher weighted sum number, which means that you can find items like this. For example, this one go up to 800 sums, which is a little bit too much, but you can change it back to like maybe 650 and you will find more reasonable items at 5 exalt, 10 exalts, and you can see the sum here. The items are ranked based on the price, but also you can clearly see the number of the sum. So if some items in the same price range with really high sum, then you can consider that as good items and you should buy them. In another example, let me show you my scepter. You can click on it, you know what I look for. I look for shrink, I look for spirit, and you can make the adjustment depending on what you need. If you need less spirit, feel free to change it to less. If you need more, feel free to change it to more. And so yeah, feel free to make any adjustment. This is a link only, and for example, after this video, I'm going to export this, copy this link, put this code in the comments or in the description of the video, and all you need to do is get this add-on, put in the import folder, import the code, and click save, and you will be able to see all the link right here. And all you need to do is to click on any of this link. You will be able to see the items, you'll be able to see the trait that I look for, and feel free to make any adjustment that fits your liking depending on what you need. But yeah, this is a pretty handy add-on to have, and especially if you're following a build like mine. Next up, we are going to talk about the passive skill trees, which is going to be a little bit different from my other variants because this is budget and it is a bit tanky. These are the 2 jewels that I bought, just put in here. The main idea for the passive skill tree is going to be grabbing the accuracy nodes over here to be accuracy cap. We want to get some ES nodes, and beside that, getting as much critical hit chance as you can to cap your crit is very important. In a Tangle Tongue setups, we have forking critical hits, which means that essentially your critical hit is going to roll twice. And if both roll is going to be a crit, then the critical damage bonus will apply twice to that hit and essentially double your critical damage bonus. Besides that, nothing too special with my gears, and you've seen the trading sections. Pretty much I bought all this for under a divine. Just keep in mind that the price can change over time and the divine to exalt value is definitely going to change. but the concept of going for under a divine build is probably not going to change. And with that, let's do a quick map showcase. But first, let me quickly show you my current Atlas tree. Obviously, to showcase this in a League Star scenario is not ideal because I have cleared everything. But however, because this is a budget challenge, I do lower my boss difficulty to basically 0. But technically, I think I can clear higher difficulty boss, but I just don't want to risk it yet. So let's try a map and see how it goes. This is mainly for a map clearing build, but with the way I set it up, Stormlands should be able to do pretty good damage. And with that, we'll do something like this for the League Star scenario. We'll be regaling our maps. We have Transmutation, Augmentation, and then Regal. So in a League Star scenario, you ideally always want to go for boss map because bossing is a way for sustained waste zone and progressing higher. So for whatever build you want to run, it should be able to at least do the boss. And here's going to be the first map, which is going to be a T15. And fully expected to not able to full clear the screen because this is a challenge with a 1 divine budget build. But as you can see here, I think Lightning Strike still hits pretty hard. And we have the Herald of Thunder with shocks and neural overload, so we can electrocute and get Frenzy Charge. As you can see, we get Frenzy Charge from the Herald of Thunder here without any issues. And because I'm actually running the Profusions in the Cast on Crit setup, so it's more focusing on the single target damage. But for generic mapping, I think Profusions on Combat Frenzy is going to help you sustain the Frenzy Charge a lot better. So yeah, this is definitely performed a little bit better than I thought. And apparently Lightning Spear is just very strong at this moment. And we have Stormlands to deal with Rare Monster. And I really want to emphasize that even though it's early game, even though if it's budget, you still want to play this build on Aurora. Being on Aurora meaning you will map a lot faster, and that means you will farm courtesy a lot faster. On this particular version, we are playing an ES hybrid ES evasion, so we have about 900 energy shields, which means that we can actually take a hit. So generally in PoE, you want to have avoidance and you want to have mitigations. Of course, I am playing the full evasion based on my other version of the build, which do more damage. But this version should be a little bit safer. Giving up some damage for some defensive is always an option. And if you pay attention on the top left corner, you can see that we are stacking all 3 elements without any problem. And that way we can have a full stack of Trinity and we do a lot more damage during mapping. This is basically accomplished by using just the Painter 7 buff. For this particular setups, you actually don't need to have 4 ascendancy points. Let me check here. Yeah, so you basically don't need the last 2 points over here. You just need to have the 3 point here. That is the most important. I think the build is performing pretty well. I mean, for a 1 divine budget, I think this is pretty good, especially early into the league. Divine is not that high right now, it's only 56 Exalt. So to be able to get something like this up and running early in the league is quite impressive for a skill like this. Especially, okay, 1 second here. Yeah, usually if you fall off your roar, you have to do the reload kind of thing, but ES Bay is pretty good. We are pretty tanky. And I thought, yeah, I might try to bring this character up to date with the end game setups. So yeah, guys, we are blasting map. And pretty impressive on a 1 divine budget as well, if I do say so myself. Hopefully the boss damage is good as well. Well, from looking at this, I'm very confident at our boss damage. So yeah, well, let me just quickly clear the map here. Shouldn't have any problem here. You see we do a lot of damage, especially for T15 maps. We don't have any hard modifiers, but even the rope exile just died very fast here. I remember the first time I fight a rope exile took like 5 minutes, but then that was during the campaign. Yeah, so Lightning Spear has some really good scaling, especially in the end game, or like maybe from Act 3 and up. This is because of Volt support, and you get it as soon as you get to Act 3, I think. After the Viper, you get a guarantee support gem level 2 and you can put Volt in there. Now if you are going for leveling setups, then that's a different story. You can use volts from maybe level 3, level 6 when you unlock Lightning Spear, which is going to be pretty amazing. At this point in the league, I think build diversity is almost dead. I know there are a lot more interesting builds, but Lightning Spear is like 60% of the populations, and it's going to be pretty awkward if GGG is going to nerf this build. Hopefully they won't, because I know people will probably come to last epoch to play the game. But anyway, moment of truth here. Let me do the boss and see what it's like. Very simple setups. We just throw down summons and we use barrage whenever it's up. And oh yeah, we do damage here. So with this kind of damage, we shouldn't have any problem fighting higher tier boss. Yep. So that is a pretty good map, and I hope you guys enjoy the map. I'm using a new tech in barrage, and yeah, so let's talk about the skill gem setup and what is the new barrage tech. For the infused weapons, again, I also take up the last link, but you want Embitter. This is because we are running Trinity setups. Trinity is very sharp on a budget, especially with such a cheap glove. Painter's Servant is needed for Trinity because it converts elemental damage you deal extra damage as fire, cold, and lightning. Try to get a good fire damage roll on here so you actually can fill up the fire part of the Trinity, because we don't really have an extra source for that. The source of coal is going to be from Embitter, as you can see in infused weapon. Doesn't matter what kind of infuse we do, and we mainly do lightning infuse because we have the Embitter. We do cold damage here. You can see cold damage is even higher than fire damage, and we don't do any other source of infuse, so just pretty much lightning infuse is where we get our cold damage from Embitter. And then we have magnified effect, concentrated effect. Basically just try to have it balance out, but yeah, we just want to hit people with infused weapon, get some blind effects on enemies. And for lightning spear, we are running volt, bullseye, perpetual charge, and I'm thinking if you have more damage you could put in fork, but ideally perpetual charge make it so mapping is a bit more consistent, because you generate charge and you have a chance not to remove them but still count as consuming, which means you get the empowered lightning bolt. For Stormlands, we are doing overextends, blindsided, and scatter shots. So the main idea here is that Tangle Tongue will do a lot of crits, so we have a lot of crit chance and we will crits a lot, and we want to crit both time because we have 4 critical hits. So if both roll is crit, you get basically double the amount of critical damage bonus, which means that whatever we do, we want to kind of get the best amount of crit chance that we can get. And you get it from the announcement here, also pretty cheap. Critical hit chance here we get from a lot of stuff, but light-sided because we have the infused weapon to blind enemies, so uptime will be almost always 100%. You get more, so this is more chance to crits and more chance, more critical damage bonus, which is extremely good. And we have overextend here for more critical damage bonus. Once again, we're stacking critical damage bonus and we're trying to get our critical hit chance to 100%, which is also why I have accuracy rating here. And the third link is scatter shots. I'm not sure if scatter shot is the best option here, but maybe Primo Armaments. I feel like scatter shot is doing a lot, so I'll just keep it there. For cast on crits, so if you don't have the quality on these gems, I suggest you to put this cast on crit gems quality at 20% first. This is because you are getting 10% reduced reservations and make it easier for you to gear, but basically you have spirits on here, you have spirits on here as well. So yeah, cast on crits, 90 spirits, which means you save 10 spirits from this if you quality it up. So yeah, try to prioritize this if you want to run a cast on crit setups. We have sniper mark here, we have profusions, we have ingenuity, basically just cast on crit setups, profusion, so it improves our single target damage. Actually, I'm going to do, if we focus more on mapping, we could put profusion into combat frenzy as well. It would be more consistent for us to generate frenzy charge in mappings. Maybe I should have just done that. But we have Barrage. Inhibitor is the new support gems, and it is really good because it makes the skill cannot consume charge. And we actually don't want Barrage to consume charge, because if we consume charge, for example, we have the Stormlance, we are doing combo with Stormlance, we generate Frenzy Charge and we press Barrage. If it consumes the Frenzy Charge, then the Stormlance that we throw out would be an Empower Stormlance, which means it's bad for us. So Barrage, ideally you have these gems, you have Premeditations, and the other socket can be whatever you want. It can be Second Wind, it can be Murderous Intent, but you need to have this if you want to run this in Stormlance setups. Trinity. So Trinity I went over in my last version of the build, but Trinity is very strong, especially if you can gain the resonance for all 3 type, and you can see that I easily gain it from Painter's Servant. So just make sure that you have Trinity on. You can socket it with Cold Mastery, Fire Mastery, and Lightning Mastery for another 3 level in here. We have Herald of Thunder, we have Electrocute, Reach, Neuro Overload, and these 3 should be fine, should be good enough for you to get Frenzy Charge in mapping. We have the Roa Mount with Meat Shields, Loyalty, and Minion Mastery. So that is going to be the skill gems. And that should cover the full One Divine Lightning Spear Amazon. And I hope you guys enjoy this one. I think I can probably take this one into a more endgame versions, going for a tanky evasion shields. A lot of people have been asking for that, so maybe more to come later. But for now, I am going to update my written guide on Mobalytics with this One Divine version of the build, and I will also provide a link to the PoE, which is exact characters that I am running and showcasing on the screen. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.